Morning, everybody. LukeJ speaking. Welcome to Book Reviews, episode number 34, and today I read you Bob Barker's Priceless Memories. This is the 12th chapter of the book, and let me tell you something. I'm almost done with reading this book. I have 3 more chapters in the book, and I'm getting ready to be done reading Priceless Memories for you guys. And then I'll have my final thoughts and then 3 more episodes later. So let's just read Priceless Memories, the 12th chapter now, shall we? So what we got for us? Chapter 12. Touching bases from Happy Gilmore to the Rose Parade. I spent more than 50 years on television, okay? But I appeared in only one film, and that was Happy Gilmore, with Adam Sandler, of course. Anyway, it was released in 1996. I was only 1 when this happened, okay? And I appeared in the movie for only a few minutes. It's like this. No. No? No. Bitch. But anyway, but that brief appearance proved to be hugely popular, especially with young men like me. Exactly, because I've been watching it since 2007's 50 Years on Television thingy. But anyway, I did The Price is Right for more than 10 years after the movie. Wow. And to the last day, I never taped a show that someone in the audience did not bring. Oh yeah, there's one over the door for some reason. Bring up Happy Gilmore and my role in that picture. I have no idea how popular that film and that fight would become. Happy Gilmore was a comedy starring Adam Sandler, which I mentioned before. Anyway, he was not only the star of the picture, he was also a writer and one of the most producers of all time. Exactly in this movie. He wrote the bid for the movie for me with, excuse me, okay, next page. Anyway, without ever telling me or talking with me about it, he just wrote it, and in that scene, Adam Sandler's character Happy Gilmore gets into the fight with me on the golf course. Wow, okay. It's all played for laughs. As he wrote it, with Adam had a finished script, he sent to my public relations representative, Henry Ballgett or something like that, and asked if I wanted to do it. I read the script, and when I discovered that I wanted to fight, I knew I wanted to do it. I studied karate for 8 years. Wow. Why does Alex Paris for you, but anyway, that memes that Bob Barker brought up. Anyway, wow, Chuck Norris. Anyway, before he became a movie star. Wow, okay. For 8 years, Chuck has been beamed up twice a week. Wow. And as long as last I have an opportunity to win a fight. Wow. I didn't wait for the opportunity to knock him twice, and I said yes. We went up to Canada to shoot the movie on a golf course outside Vancouver. Wow. It rained at least part of every day. And there I was, out there in the wet grass, wrestling with Adam. The weather was so wet that we had to shoot whenever we could. I would never thinking, here I am, 73 years old, something like that, going around in the wet grass with a young man, and I am bound to catch pneumonia. Jeez. Anyway, but I even catch a cold. We shot the scene, and it's about 3 days, and I thought it was fun. a thoroughly enjoyable experience, but I have no idea it would get cult status with a huge number of moviegoers like me, because I'm a huge filmmaker. Anyway, this Doggan, the director of the film, said they have a stuntman who would do as much as of a fight as I thought necessary. I did say to Dennis, but I thought, oh no, I come all the way up here to Canada to win the fight. Not to watch the stuntman who win it. To Dennis, I said, I know how to fight. I do it myself. Dennis says, okay, but he looked genuinely surprised. After all, I was 73 years old. And did all the fight as well. When I knocked him into that pond, something like that, excuse me, anyway. He was himself went to it. Went in, something like that, excuse me. Anyway. The only time that we used stuntman was for the log roll down the hill. And one of the stuntmen hurt his back doing it. Wow. The Gregory people, particularly young man, asked me if I could beat up Adam Sandler in the real life. I say, are you kidding? Adam Sandler couldn't whip Regis Philbin the way Regis Philbin, rest in peace to him. Anyway, industry, I tried Pat Sajak and Alex Trebek. Pat Sajak is be retired next year. If you watch Pat, happy retirement to you. And Alex Trebek, who sadly passed away in 2020, same year as Regis. Anyway, in that line, but Regis always getting the biggest laps. Excuse me. Anyway, why? I also went to the premiere with Adam Sandler. We pulled up the theater, Universal Studios, in the golf cart. Wow. Which is appropriate because a brawl occurred in the golf course. It was at the premiere that what was the first inkling of what the public's reaction of our fight would be. After the scream, there was a big party at Universal, and people were pounding me on the back, congratulating me, and telling me how much they enjoyed seeing me punch out Adam. Wow. If you saw Happy Gilmore, you will recall that one stage in the fight. Adam covers me and then said, "The price is wrong, bitch." Wow. Wow, Adam. At the end of the fight, I finish up Adam and walk away saying, not really enough. And I pause, but turn away to say, bitch. And as I mentioned earlier on my episode of book reviews. But anyway, that one because of became the one so far of our Price Right audience were concerned. After the movie was released, I never taped a show that someone in the audience didn't bring up Happy Gilmore. And within minutes, members of the audience were asking me to do the line. Of course, I refused, and I told them that the line was acting in the highest order. Exactly. And then talked the way in real life, which made the audience only more demanding. Do the line, do the line. They shout in front of every corner in the studio. Sometimes the entire audience would begin chanting, do the line. I've always only said, well, I'm going to ask our associate producer next page anyway. Kathy agreed. Kathy would always be sitting at the desk near the set. Excuse me, anyway. And I will tell them, if she says that I can say the line, then I will say it. But if she says no, then I can't say it. And so they will start yelling at her. Come on, Kathy. Come on, Kathy. Wow. Now leave her alone. I would say, but they would yell at, scream and plead with her. Whoa. Whoa. If I would say, Cappy, there people want me to say, now you had enough, bitch. But don't think I should. Do something about it. I don't know what to say next. Anyway. And the audience would explode in laughter and screaming. Jeez. Is that gonna help much? Anyway. Or we'll get a single from the stage member who would tell me they'll have it 30 seconds before we went on the air. And the audience would be begging me to say the phrase. I would say, no, I'm sorry, we do not have enough time. I do not have the time to say it. Thank you, Bob. Much appreciate that. But anyway, then we get another signal from the stage manager as well. 9 seconds, and the last moment right before we went on, I would say, I don't have enough time to say, now we have enough, bitch. Thank you. Anyway. And the audience would roar with laughter as we went on the air. Adam Sandler was a talented man, and it was a pleasure to work with him on the film. Later on in 2007, that was premiered, that is, when CBS did a primetime special with my 50th anniversary on television. He came on the show. We had a lot of fun together. We showed a clip of Happy Gilmore, and he wrote a poem about me that was hilarious. He wrote a poem on the show. He got great laughs. Yes. And it was the best moment of my life watching on television when I was nearly close to be 12 years old at the time. Anyway. Shortly after my retirement, I was inducted in the National Associated Broadcasters Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame community requested that they were provided a tape and show of this is your life, Bob Barker from the association. And Adam Sandler took the time to, for what I know, to be a very busy schedule to narrate the tape. Adam's career has been a thing to hold since Happy Gilmore. But his kindness to me during the induction, he remains the same sincere, thoughtful young man that I had the pleasure of working with in Canada more than 10 years ago. This book came out in 2009, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to let you know that once I get close to the book, oh, go ahead. Thank you. Anyway, once I get closer to reading this book, we'll get to that in that time frame. Anyway, I'll stop right there, but when we come back, we will finish chapter 12 with the huge bang. I'll eat my breakfast, and I'll come back to you for chapter 12. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Book Reviews, episode number 34. Now let's read where we left off after I finish my breakfast on, let's just say, chapter 12. So we got for us, shall we? So we got for us. Anyway. Over the years, I made other television appearances besides Truth and Price, okay? Never dramatic, unusually as myself, but I did log quite a few appearances on a variety of talk shows. Wow, okay. Game shows and a few sitcoms. Oh, okay. And I did an episode of Bananas in 1960. Okay, yeah, I saw that from the 2007 TV TV special, 50 years on television, okay? I remember I stole a girl, okay. I remember I stole a girl from Lil Joe. Wow, okay. Not many men can make that claim. Darby Joe and I appeared together on a few game shows that made married couple on them. We did Tattletales together. Let me see. Okay. We did Tattletales several times. Okay. This is a show where wives and husbands would predict their spouses' reactions to various questions. Okay. They kept inviting us back because they thought Darby Joe's hilarious. Never seen it. Tattletales was hosted by Bert Convey, okay? A nice man who died too young. Wow. I was also in Match Game quite a bit. There was tons of laughs in the show. Hilarious about that. Saying that SWAT episode from Match Game. But anyway, Richard Dawson was a panelist with who I'm so impressed that later I hired him on the local television show I produced called Lucky Pair. Richard Dawson was the host of Family Feud at the time. But anyway, I tried to sell in syndication, but I was never able to cut it. It was a good game show as well, based on the ideas of my mother's. Lucky Pair was a board game played by two contestants. Next page. Anyway, the contestant who completed the most pairs who won the game. To complete a pair who you have to match two squares in the board. A contestant who chose a number of the board. The square turns around and perhaps and might reveal 1492. Wow. Okay then. The contestant would say Columbus discovered America. Okay. And complete a pair. It's a match, okay? But suppose the square revealed Civil War General. And this contestant said Robert E. Lee. And the square turned back into place. Incorrect. Kind of reminds me of, it's Christopher Columbus. Idiot. Anyway. That's not the answer we were looking for. The pair was not completed. Exactly. Now the contestant was try to remember the number of the Civil War General square. He discovers the square that reads Gerald James Longstreet. Boy. No. Think about it for a moment. Lucky Pair, Richard Endless, possibilities that was a live fun. Jeff Edwards was the first host of Lucky Pair, who also hosted the new Treasure Hunt. We auditioned a dozen of hosts for the job, and I told the folks at CBS that Jeff was the man. There were several dollars. I talked them into giving Jeff a chance. In a couple of weeks, everyone wanted to take credit for hiring him. He was that good. He left Lucky Pair when he got opportunity to do a network show with his wife. That was when we hired Richard Dawson. I hired two hosts, Jeff and Richard. I say I'm about 1,000, excuse me, okay, well. In the 1970s, I was frequent guest on the Dinah Shore Show. Dinah taped it right down in the hall from Priceless for years. Wow. When the guests dropped out, they called me. As a result, I was her show for more than any other guest. They even talked with me about co-hosting with Dinah. But so, at my age, N-I-X-E-D. No substance will say the A word, okay? That, okay? He, thought I would be spraying myself too thin. Greg Ferguson, the late night talk show host on CBS, has been me on the show, on his show a couple of times. He kept telling me, his audience, that I'm a vampire. Really? I don't know if he found it out. But I've been on the late show with David Letterman. I've done the Conan O'Brien show. I've done the Rosie O'Donnell show. And every time I went to New York, I was on her show. We done a lot of fun. She always said when I retired, she wanted to replace me. Rosie, I have no words to describe you, but you are a great host of Priceless Right. You have to at least do something. Okay. And when I retired, she did talk to the producers, but I think she wanted to move the show to New York. Really? That was not going to happen. I did talk to Ellen DeGeneres show. Excuse me, okay, right. She was a charming host, and yeah, now it's canceled last year. Anyway, I received an Emmy for Best Host in the year that I retired, and Ellen followed me in the podium. She said she intended to add more conversation on her own show, and she was going to start that very night by saying, "I think Bob Barker's a queer." Ellen, you will always let Bob do something about it. He's a great host. In 1996, I did a couple of episodes in a sitcom called Something So Right, which starred Mel Harris, okay? I play her father, and Sherry Jones play her mother. Sherry and I were separated, but was still involved. It was a funny show. Not only I have never been in a sitcom, but it's always, all honesty, I never watched sitcoms enough to really get to the feel of them. So there I was, casting them, something that's so right, and worried that I was about to do something so wrong. Started rehearsals. It did not take Sherry Jones long to realize that I did not know what I was doing. But she helped me tremendously between takes and semi rehearsals. She and I would sit down. Next page. Anyway, she would go over my lines with me. Okay? She taught me that in sitcoms, everyone moves fast. The speech is fast. She said, "You say it line, I say a line, he says one, and boom, boom, boom." Wow. Try to keep up the speed with the rest of this cast. But it went well. They had to beat me back. I did 2 of these shows with Shirley. And she was such a gracious lady. I will always be very grateful for her. And she will always be the Irish coach. And to have an Academy Award winner and as your Irish coach, it's the way to go. The very talented producers, Judd Poet and John Posey, someone that we're a joy to work with as well. Having Jerry Jones, my Irish coach, it's like having a Chuck Norris and my karate instructor, with which strategy. And what I have also, Chuck was a great on Truth or Consequences. He was a karate champion. Okay, he came on to do a demonstration on the show. Knowing if I have ever done karate, but I also have never seen it. But I was also impressed by Chuck that I've started taking karate lessons. So we became good friends. But also introduced him to a fellow I know in Maria television. Hoping to get him started with a television show. It did not work out. But we continued to be friends. And of course, he went on to huge success. After Chuck's first appearance in the show, he came back and did the demonstration. This time I showed them contestants, 3 women are out of the audience, and told them they go to learn some karate from Chuck Norris. It was a joke on the world audiences. I chose young women who look fit. Excuse me, okay, anyway. We had a map, and Chuck said, okay, lady number 1, come over here, and I'll show you how to throw a punch. He did that, and then maybe a kick or 2, and then he showed her how to throw him down. Ow, sorry about that. It's just my table. It's just a table. It's from Morgan's tape. My desk is just messed up. Anyway, the lady number 2 went through the 3 basic things, okay? And he showed her how to defend himself, Now, with, he starts the lady number 3, she kicks him. Wow. Harsh, dude. Anyway, hits him and throws him out in her show. Oh my god, really? Wow. He's flopping all over the place. She's really in command. The audience was screaming, oh my god, yeah, exactly. Lady number 3 was actually Chuck's wife. Oh wow, okay. We had planted her in the audience, and she knew some karate. And it was a hilarious spot to see the woman promoting the karate champion. She's good. I thought that was a harsh thing to do, but oh well, we tried anyway. It was the beginning of a lifetime friendship with Chuck Norris. He became my first karate teacher. He used to come over to my house to give me lessons. We worked out on the lawn and at first, but later on I stopped putting my car in the garage, and I have a garage floor all padded and made it into a karate studio. I have a big mirror, put in it so I can see my chops and kicks. And he and I worked together for 8 years. Chuck spot might be described as the Chuck Norris version of him, the tank so dull karate style. Makes sense in any way. But anyway, tank so dull is basically foot fighting. But Chuck taught hand techniques. Apparently, I became a red belt, which is just below black belt. Wow. Chuck always wanted to test me for black belt, but I declined. I have so much respect for the black belt rank that would rather be a pretty good black belt than a marginal black belt. When Chuck's movie career took off, I started studying with Pat Johnson, who was a fighter on one of the Chuck's karate team and a stuntman. He and I worked together for several years, and I started late in life that I thoroughly enjoyed karate. You haven't seen stretch out very loose. Chuck got me into the regular exercise schedule. And that was very so important that it wasn't Hawaii. Next page. Anyway, for 21 years, and I was still exercise regularly thanks to my friends Chuck and Pat. That reminds me of the story of in regards to Chuck Norris and his brother Aaron. Makes sense in any way. It involved my mother as well. He made up about mother. Sorry about that. Anyway, Chuck was over my house. And we were sparing with that. Excuse me. Okay, I spoke these words. Sorry. He kicked me in the side. It hurt so badly, and it continued to hurt. A few days later, his brother Aaron came over. We were sparring. He punched me in the other side with his fist. That hurt as well, so badly. You gotta remember these books are not so expensive, and I'm really sick and tired of flipping like that. But anyway, it continued to hurt. Wow. Finally went to the doctor. I told him I was struck here, and I was still hurting. After he looked at the same x-rays, the doctor said, "I was not surprised you were still hurting. You have 2 cracked ribs here, and another 2 cracked ribs here, and I would expect both places to hurt." Wow. Came home and told my mother, who was living with us then, that Chuck has cracked 2 of my ribs, and that his brother Aaron had cracked 2 of my ribs on the other side. My mom said, "I think you're going to have to stop playing with those Norris boys." Thank you. I just don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Chuck Norris, but except for the Norris boys from the Dayball style, which I'm inspired by. Make films, TV shows over the years, but this had to stop. Anyway, began in the early 80s. I began to go on the road regularly with the audience preparation, the show, playing in large-scale venues around the country. When the form was everything, I was assuming that doing that is its games, prizes, and audiences preparation, play of ad-libbing, improvisation. The sheer size of the audience made these shows a completely different entertainment challenger. Much of the delight, it was a hugely successful format, and I went on to do these traveling shows for 8 years. Wow. With both records attendance, and within a short time, we would only do book area. Excuse me, okay. They could seat at least 10,000 people. Wow. We would okay. We often played with the audience of 10, 20,000. Excuse me, okay. We smashed records all over the country. It was a great fun playing to such emphatic large crowds everywhere. These live stage shows started casually enough. The phone called my agent, Solo Leon. Wow. There were a couple of men, a dentist named Dr. Robert Law, and his friend Sheldon Ferguson, and another missionary who was associated with the charity and wanted me to do a fundraiser. Wow. Okay. They contacted Sol Leon, who represented me at the William Morris Agency. Sol told me, I got a phone call and this fellow is talking about some pretty good money. He wants you to come down to Johnson City, Tennessee, and do a show. Wow. Mr. Leon, you are good at this. Anyway, And I saw what short show the caller was talking about. I don't know, he said. Why don't you talk about him? Why don't you talk to him and see if you're interested? So I called Mr. Wall, Dr. Wall, and asked him, what did you want me to do? He said, just do what you want to always do. I said, I talk to people, play games, give away prizes. Dr. Wall said, that's what I want you to do. And that's how it all started. I asked Dr. Wall if he could get some people to help me, and he said that he could get all the members of Johnson City Colonies Club. I suggested a show like that might benefit from a couple of pretty girls on the stage. And he said he would not only get a few pretty girls. Wow. Anyway, he would get some beauty queens. Wow. Wow. Okay? There has to be next page. Anyway. What? Oh, come on. Anyway, we're almost done here. A few more pages left. Anyway. Could get some prizes. He said, oh yes, the merchants are eager to cooperate. There will be plenty of prizes. He was very asthmatic, and he was answered for everything. So I told him that I would write a script to get details. Describing every moment that had to be made. And I would send a copy to him. Then I said, I'm going to get on the phone and go over that script with you. If you get this all together, I'll come down and do your show. So this is what we did. Describe every game, every prize, every prop. The responsibilities of stagehead and models were all laid out. I asked him to tell his workers to do exactly what we have discussed. Exactly. Everything I have written down, then I have everything set to do the show. I told him I would come in the day before the show, and we would rehearse. Everything was very carefully that night. He said that was fine. We'll be ready. He was completely confident. Up at the point when the show seemed to be all set, but when I got on the airplane to go to Tennessee, the weather in the part of the country was terrible. We could not get near Johnson City, Tennessee. It was the first winter storm for that. I ended up in Kansas City, Missouri. That Friday night, show was scheduled for Saturday night, so I called Dr. Roll. He said, hello Bob, where are you? He said I didn't want you to worry because everything's going to be fine, but I'm in Kansas City right now. There's a long pause. Dr. Roll, I said, in the day's voice, Dr. Roll asked, what are you doing in Kansas City? I explained the weather problem. I assured him that they had told me I'll be able to get in tomorrow. If you can meet me in the apartment in the airport, we'll go directly to the venue. And I said, we'll put the show together and it will all work. The next day, the weather was again horrendous. Anyway, but I did manage to arrive in Tennessee. But at that time we left the airport, it was close to showtime. I was happy to discover that Dr. Rob and his crew, the 15 men and 2 young ladies, were all prepared. I told them every move to make, right down to the last detail in the script. And they were on the top of it. They're like the veteran Hollywood crew, sharp and detailed, dedicated, and they wanted to work. Let's see. Okay, makes more sense. Anyway, we did the show despite a vegetable blizzard in the area. And we filled Jefferson Hall. We had an audience of 8,000 people. We turned away a couple of thousand more. The show's a smash hit. The live scream and applauded. And they gave me a standing ovation at the end. After the show, Dr. Rowe came up to me and said, "This rich southern accent, I think you ought to be doing more of these shows." And I said, "I think you're alright." This is how the live road show began. It became one very popular. It broke a record in Atlanta. Okay? We filled us something in Cincinnati. Everywhere we went, we sold out and broke attendance records, I was still posting the Priceless right Hollywood. I would fly out on Thursday or Friday, do a show Friday night, and then to do another one in a nearby city Saturday night. And I would jump out on the plane, fly back on Sunday, and go to work on Price on Monday. Dr. Rowan Sheldon Fergus had a comedy called The Tennessee Partners, that Parliament, Country, and Western. Next page. And that night, Bob Barker, we started storming on the map. We went on the tier that lasted 8 years. You name it, we played Oklahoma City. If you watch this, Tom King goes for you. Anyway, Seattle, Cleveland, Detroit, Tampa, Miami, and Atlanta. Wow. We all over. We wanted to play us in Madison Square Garden, New York. The advertising cost was outrageous. Wow. And I did not want to do a show that would just play for advertising. They wanted us to play in the old Los Angeles Forum. But I didn't want to appear at Forum because we take Price is Right in Los Angeles. 5 people wanted to come and wait with me and see me in Los Angeles. They could come and see me for free doing Price is Right. Dr. Rowe was one who suggested that we call the show the Bob Barker Funny Game Show. I said, you got it. When I first started doing Bob Barker Funny Game Show, I found such large audiences. I thought we might have big acts with lots of bigs happening on the stage. Not so. I've learned that the folks love to have me roam through the audience, even up in the balcony. The flying man follow me with the spot, and I had fun with people all the ages and colors. Even with kids at the young age, as 4 and 5, I pick them up, stand them in front in their chairs, and stay with the youngsters as long as we were getting laughs. I remember talking with a 6-year-old boy in San Antonio for about 5 minutes. The audience loved him. And it was in the balcony. I sometimes chose the contestants steering the floor below. It was a case of Lion Man through a steam spot on the contestants with me in the balcony and the contestants on the floor below. We would play a game mounted on the board of the stage. The 2-hour show was Helzobian atmosphere. Wow, okay. So it popping, okay. Yeah, Helzobian, okay. Makes sense, anyway. The audience didn't know where I was to be the next, who I might be the next we're talking with, excuse me. But, of course, um, they hope, they hop in, be with them. And the best part was, it was just might have been. Exactly. Anyway, sounds like fun, doesn't it? Believe me, it was. I think I enjoyed the show as much as anyone in the audience. Even the contestant won a car at the end of the show. So Leon came out 2 or 3 more times to see the Bob Barker Fun and Game Show. Once he said, "Bob, this is the nearest thing to the Beatles I ever saw." I know. So was my agent, but it still sounded good to me. When we were going in the city to do the show, the Tennessee partners will lay out a complete advertising plan. Newspapers, radios, and television. They would send it to Soul. Soul would look at the plan over very carefully. And he always made suggestions, made changes, and added valuable insights. At this time, Soul was having breakfast once a week with legendary casual Tom Parker, something like that, when promoted all the Elvis Presley's personal appearances. Wow, hound dog difference. Anyway, Soul said the casual became interested in the Bob Barker Fun and Game Show and gave him the tips from the time to time on promoting the show. I think you'll agree that Soul was given tips from the excellent source. People often told me that my relationship with Soul Leon was something to behold. It was. He was my agent, but he was far more than that. He was an advertising consultant and advertiser and a dear friend. Excuse me, next pages. This will be the last 3 pages of the book before we wrap things up, and then we'll do episode 45 next. Anyway, the Bob Barker Fun and Game Show was not only the traveling show, but I was doing during those days, nor was it only other job that was outside the Priceless Right. I was hosting the annual beauty pageant, as I mentioned last chapter of the episode of book reviews. Anyway, I was also anchoring the Rose Parade broadcast every year on CBS. Wow. In fact, I was involved with a number of parades around the country. I did the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York, and the Mummers Parade in Philadelphia. For years, I worked in the NW 500 Festival Parade. Excuse me, okay, wait. My granddaddy bought the mall, and they say, and told me it's a Rose Parade in Plasma. That was a privilege and present for me to do over 20 years. Wow. I worked with some wonderful people that narrated the Rose Parade. I co-hosted shows with June Lockhart. She was one bright lady, and she was funny. I worked with Joan Lanhart, who was bright and funny as well. I worked earlier, and I interviewed the Grand Marshals every year. One time it was Charles Schultz, which is boring. The creator Charlie Brown. Anyway, and I was a big fan. Good for you, Bob. Anyway, I know he did not like to give autographs. Yeah. But once he and I were alone, I apologized when he requested one. He quickly sketched Snoopy on my script, wrote to Bob with friendship and inflection, and signed it with Sparky. A nickname his friends called him is one of my treasures. Anyway, the Rose Parade, for 21 years, I was unable to go to the New Year's Eve party. Okay? I had to be out there in Puzzle at 4 a.m. They really took it seriously. One team would go to Pelagia for 2 days or so before the parade. We take places where they built floats and interview the float builders. We did a lot of research about the parade, and we studied up in the background and the groups marching the parade. I have anchored parades in over the country, but the Rose Parade is best organized parade of them all. If they say they are going to step up off at 8 a.m., you can set your watch by it. If you're going to say the band was past reviewing and stand at 9:15, you can bet the band will be there playing its best music at 9:15 a.m. Many parades do not operate that way. The Rose Parade Plasma definitely has better weather for the parade, and they are other place in their country. So many of these big parades are around the holidays. If you are in the East, say New York or Cleveland, Detroit for example, the weather can be atrocious. I know I have been there, but I did the Tobias 500 Festival Parade for 21 years. Have you noticed that 21 seems to be my favorite number? Wow. Bob, if you're watching in heaven right now, my favorite number is 20. And all the jokes I have inside is 69. And it was a joke humor right here at the time. So you're right after me. I'm right after you, Bob. Right before you, Bob. Anyway. Makes sense anyway. As Darby Joe noted, nothing is tremendous. Anyway. I made many friends in the Derby and like that, and enjoyed the annual visit. And if you watch this, at least said, Mom, your favorite number is 111. Anyway, the race car drivers were always a fun bunch. And after the parade, we went to go to the race, which was even more exciting. Anyway, it was John Christ who steered me to the Rose Parade job that I truly enjoyed the 21 years about, who hired me to do so. The Miss USA pageants and Miss Universe beauty pageants, which I did for 21 years. Again, Bob Barker's favorite number. And finally, who hired me to host the Philadelphia Roseberry Bake-Off every year. He was an entity representative for Philadelphia and the Leo Burnett Agency. He called me one day and said, we need a producer and a host. He asked if I would be willing to be both produce and host the Bake Off. Wow, okay. This will be the last page of this book before we wrap things up, and we'll do 13 and 14, and we'll wrap up the episodes. Anyway, without installation, I said, sure, why not? I know nothing about the Bake Off. I learned, and I hosted the contest for 20 years. Somehow I missed the initial 21. The only thing I didn't like about the Bake Off was taking off the weight I always gained. Anyway, you see, I had to taste the entries. Wow. John Christ had a wonderful sense of humor, and we could talk for hours together. I remember we were sitting on the plane in the mid-60s. We were trying to decide whatever to drink. I knew he liked screwdrivers, and there always a time where there was a popular new drink that we called a Harvey wall banger, something like that. Excuse me, okay. It was a vodka, orange juice, wow, okay, and Gario. And I said, John, I have never had a Harvey wall banger in my life, but I think it was some of the ingredients of a screwdriver. Okay. He said, let's try some Harvey wall bangers. So we started drinking them. So we talk and laugh as always, and we were solving all the problems in television and advertising. Eventually, I look up and everybody on the airplane, we stand up in this aisle, aisle, something like that. I said to John, what's going on here? Well, look at these people. I don't know what's going on. And he replied, asked the gentleman in the aisle what's happening. The gentleman gave me a book. Mason said, this airplane is going to be struck by lightning. Wow. Everybody was flying and they were all on their feet, but John and I have never noticed. John never handled the situation perfectly. He told me the flight attendant and said, Miss, could we have 2 more Harvey Wallbangers, please? So that was chapter 12 of this book called Priceless Memories. I think this book will turn out to be amazing. I'm almost done with this book overall, but the best part is it will turn out to be an amazing one. So there you go on that. And that wraps up for episode number 34. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one. It's going to be episode 35, chapter 13 of the book called It's going to be a foundation side of things. There are going to be, 12 pages of the book, and then we're going to do the final chapter of the book right after in the next 2 episodes. So, that after this one. So, there you go on that. Now, excuse me, I gotta get some water to drink, and then we'll read you chapter 13. Till next time, so Jerry's Bob, so baby, more episodes gonna be soon. So say out. See ya.